Okay, we're going to move on to our fourth segment here.
Beaten to death by prison guards.
Before I forgot it's a video. Before I turn that on for you all, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you some context. It's about a story from Channel 2 News, CBS Chicago. The title of the video, and I don't really want to talk about this specific case necessarily, but I'm bringing it on the show today to talk about just how broken accountability is throughout all of the criminal justice system. So the title of this report from CBS 2 Chicago is Inmate Fatally Beaten in Prison, Blind Spot. Highlights failures to oversee jail guard, Watchdog says. Okay. This is Jennifer Vollen-Katz, who's this expert, and I will say we are already in communication with Vollen-Katz, and she will be on this show in the next couple of weeks, hopefully before the 6th when we're taking a break for about 10 days. But if not, we'll have her after that break. But she will be on the show talking about this. And what I want you to think about, ladies and gentlemen, is like how in 2018, I think is when the murder happened, how did this exist? How are there blind spots in prisons where there are no cameras and everybody knew and no one did anything? Here's the segment. I'll be back in 3 minutes and 24 seconds.
And beaten to death by prison guards in 2018. We recently told you about the beating and where it took place, in the shadows, not captured on surveillance video because it happened in a notorious blind spot. Tonight, a prison watchdog group tells CBS 2 investigator Megan Hickey the case highlights the need for more oversight. Megan, they believe this beating death is just the beginning.
Right, Brad, COVID-19 created more barriers for prison watchdogs. While the Illinois Department of Corrections says they've fixed that notorious blind site, advocates say there's still more work to be done.
These are people who don't have access to the outside world to sound alarm bells, to get help when needed, and that's really troubling.
65-year-old Larry Irvin couldn't sound any alarm bells in 2018 when he was disciplined by correctional staff at Western Illinois Correctional Center in Mount Sterling, out of sight of the facility's cameras.
How they could treat someone human like that.
Last month, the Chicago native's son told me he wanted answers for his father's brutal death.
A 65-year-old, he wasn't able to defend himself, handcuffed, you know, I don't know who does that. You don't even treat animals like that.
Irvin was one of several victims of beating in the blind spot, which the Illinois Department of Corrections, or IDOC, tells me was corrected after his death with the installation of 79 new cameras at Western Illinois Correctional Center over the last year.
And so,
But Jennifer Vollen-Katz, executive director of the 120-year-old John Howard Association,
we're prison watchdogs,
tells me the cameras are far from enough.
The question is who's monitoring the footage, who's looking at the cameras, who's looking at the footage, and what are they doing with that information?
She tells me their boots on the ground prison monitoring was shut down by COVID, and when they asked the department to allow random remote screenings of surveillance video,
we were told it would not be, that was not something they were going to allow us to do.
So no maybe technical reason as to why they couldn't allow it. They just said it wasn't something they'd allow.
Correct.
In December 2019, 3 Illinois prison guards were indicted in connection with Irvin's death. One pleaded guilty, the other 2 are awaiting trial. But his family believes so much more could have been done to prevent his death. Vollen-Katz tells me this case shows how crucial a third-party monitor outside the Department of Corrections really is.
I think that this case highlights the need for increased transparency and oversight. How people are treated in prison is something we should all be concerned about. You know, these are human beings.
Now, IDOC tells me they hired a chief inspector to provide more oversight. The John Howard Association says they appreciate that hire, but they feel like it's a conflict of interest. They'd like to see a monitor that's not part of the agency that he or she oversees. Brad?
Yeah, that kind of seems obvious. What does IDOC have to say about the lack of access for these kinds of prison watchdogs, specifically during the pandemic, Megan?
Okay. So there were spots in prisons in Illinois that were not covered by cameras. Guards knew about it and had been around a long time. And the wardens, people running the prisons, did nothing, the facilities. That's what this report is saying. What the hell's going on? What the hell is going on there? Now, how about the Illinois General Assembly or the governor's office force an audit of each prison and see where, bring a grand jury in, and see where there are blind spots in any of the prisons and who in the facilities knows where those blind spots are. Talk to the prisoners, talk to the guards, talk to the administrators. Even if it's only for information, get that information and then fire every single person who knew and did nothing. It's not an accident. This was allowed to happen on purpose. On purpose. Because it served whatever interest of the guards, the facility, the warden, whoever's running the prison. I'm not sure if they're called wardens in Illinois. They knew it served their facility. Let's take a closer look at one of the quotes here. She said, and this is Valencast, she said their boots on the ground prison monitoring was shut down by COVID. When they asked the corrections department to allow random remote screenings of surveillance video, we were told that it was not something they would allow us to do. No technical reason was given. They're not going to fire anyone. The leaders of IDOC are not going to do it. The governor and the Illinois General Assembly has to step on them and make them do these things. Where's Kwame Raoul? Mr. Attorney General, where are you? Step on them, make them do it. They won't do it any other way. The reason they didn't send up that remote random access to videos is because they're hiding stuff. Why wouldn't you say, sure, let's find a way to do this? Go ahead, look at all the video. We got nothing to hide. Listen, accountability throughout this justice system in Chicago, Cook County, Illinois, the United States of America, is absolutely, utterly broken. Absolutely default position is cover up any which way they can. But they can't completely. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are probably a week or two away from sending the Illinois Department of Corrections demand letters. And then, let's say it's going to be early August, so let's say October, November, we're going to hit them with a multi-count lawsuit. We are suing the crap out of the Illinois Department of Corrections. They have multiple FOIA denials. Stupid stuff. How many gang members in each facility? They won't tell you that. Well, come on down to Cook County Court, ladies and gentlemen, and let's see if we can't get a judge to make you open up. I'm pretty sure we're going to win. I think most of our FOIAs, they're set up to sue. So most of our FOIAs, the Illinois Department of Corrections, that they denied, we're going to win those. And we're going to take the data whether they like it or not. One of my board members a while back said we should just send FOIAs in for videos from all the cameras. Maybe a day's worth. And because of this story, we may have to do something like it. It's a fascinating story.